it's caked up on a Thursday afternoon. Today's Monday. Hi again. Welcome back to Oakey Dokey Knits, my YouTube knitting podcast. This is episode 2. Hopefully it'll only be in one part, unlike my first episode that ended up way too long and I had to split it up into 3 parts. I've only got one completed or one finished object to show, and then I have few whips, mostly little things, but one big thing. So I think 3 different whips and then a couple of acquisitions as well. So I'll start out with my finished object, which is my Eva Cardigan. So I finished it last episode. I showed it as a work in progress, and I said something about like, oh, I feel like this is going to take forever because it's a relatively small gauge, or smaller than I'd been working before, and it felt like the yoke took forever, and oh, I don't know if I'm going to get it done before I go back to work. But I have. It finished. Oh wait, maybe I should have woven in these little ends. I wanted to join I know that there are better ways to join new skeins of yarn when you finish one, but I was finding that using all of the other methods that I normally like to use, there's lots of invisible ways to do it, or more invisible ways to do it, but trying any of those and then I'd yank on the yarn, they would always come apart. Maybe the drops merino that I used is particularly slippery or something, but I found that the only way that it would be like really secure was for me to like tie them. I was too worried if I like just carried them. I don't know if there's a word or a term for this method of joining different skeins or switching yarns, where you like leave a long tail and just switch to the new skein or the new yarn and then keep going in that one, and then you like it's like carrying floats behind your work with that long tail and then weaving it in. I felt like I was worried too, because none of the other methods I'd used were holding up well enough. I was worried that wouldn't hold up well enough either. So I just decided to tie them and leave these messy knots that I haven't. Those are the only things that I haven't woven in, because some of them have like little tiny tails that'll be like annoying to try and weave in. And they're on the inside, so nobody knows that they're there except me when I wear this. This is the Eva Cardigan by PetiteKnit. I usually make adjustments on the fly to what the actual pattern instructs, and this was no exception to that. I made it longer than the pattern instructs, first of all, and I like it that way. I haven't measured it. I made it a few inches longer, so it sits like halfway down my butt, if not covering my whole butt, whereas the normal Eva Cardigan sits kind of at the waist, I think. It's more of like a cropped cardigan, or sits like just past the waist of high-waisted pants, like the hem of high-waisted pants. Having made this pattern, I think I would also like to make one of those, like shorter, more cropped versions of the Eva Cardigan, like in the pattern. I think that those also look really nice, but I definitely did want like a longer, cozier cardigan to just throw on top of really any outfit, no matter what, like pants, if they're high-waisted or whatever. I don't have to worry about that. But yeah, so this is my Eva Cardigan. I really enjoyed making this. I thought the shoulder construction was really interesting. I meant to look up in my first episode when I was talking about this, I wasn't super clear on like, I'm pretty sure it's like a cross between like a raglan construction and a saddle shoulder, but I meant to look up what exactly a saddle shoulder construction is. Oh, good, they're finishing. I was nervous about, or I think they're finishing. I was nervous about starting to record this and had to wait a while because there was like a crew working, like cutting down a tree at one of my neighbors' houses, and it was sporadically like really noisy. And I thought, oh man, okay, well, I don't have another opportunity to record, so I'm just gonna go for it. And if there's moments where there's too much noise, I'll just stop talking and wait for them to be done. But it looks like I might not have to do that. It looks like they're wrapping up, so that's good. Anyway, I meant to look up exactly what a saddle shoulder construction is because I am quite sure. I've never actually worked one before, and I'm pretty sure it's where there's like that like wide band. Oh, I just realized I probably rustled the microphone. But there's like a wide band down across the shoulder, and then it splits for sleeves. Anyway, I think it's kind of a cross between a saddle shoulder. I might be wrong. I'm gonna try and look it up and put it down below in this video. I'm pretty sure it's a saddle shoulder cross with a raglan. And I thought that that was really interesting. So here's the like collar. This is the right shoulder. So here's the collar. I'm gonna get my face out of it so it focuses. Here's the collar, and it kind of like creates that bar going down. It was really interesting. You like, I don't want to give too much away because it is a paid for pattern, but I know that a lot of people have made this, so hopefully I'm not giving too much away. But like, you make, I kind of forget how it goes. You make the normal yoke, but then you have to create separate shoulder or like front shoulder pieces and attach them together. I think that's how it went. And then you start adding in sleeve stitches in between, and like expanding that out, kind of like a raglan. So it goes from that like, get my face out. It goes from that bar down and splits for a sleeve, and then it kind of turns back into a raglan, like coming down the front to create the sleeve, the front and the back, I think. Yeah. See? Just like that raglan bit. Oh my gosh, this is not showing how I want it to. Anyway, yeah, there for the back of the sleeve. There's that kind of raglan increasing as well, to create the sleeve. So it turned out so cozy. I actually like how the Drops Merino feels. It feels like, I can tell it's definitely wearing a little bit because it is just like a superwash merino. So I can tell it's like, oh, there's hairs. It's wearing a little, maybe you can't really tell from the camera, but there's like little bits of pilling. Yeah, I guess maybe you can kind of tell. Anyway, there's little bits of pilling happening because I've worn this a lot since I finished it. I've worn it almost every day, to be honest. It's so cozy and soft. I like how it's like a little bit or how do I put it? Because it's not rough. It's just a soft merino, but it's not like fluffy either. But yeah, I really like how it feels, and it's super soft and cozy. So what were the modifications that I made other than making it longer? It features like 2x2 ribbing, which I've done 2x2 ribbing before, and lots of people have been talking in their podcasts about how much they've been loving 2x2 ribbing lately. And I can get behind that too now. Like, I enjoyed working 2x2 ribbing. It wasn't like magical life-changing or anything, but I did enjoy it, and I think it looks really nice. Like, I tend to prefer 1x1 ribbing, or I have preferred 1x1 ribbing in the past for like especially sleeve cuffs, but I actually really like this 2x2 ribbed cuff. I didn't make it as long as, I don't think I did make it as long as the pattern recommends, but I really like it, and I finished all of my edges with a an Italian bind off. I had to look up like the technique for Italian bind off for 2x2 ribbing, and it was really interesting actually. I followed, oh, I forget whose video I followed. If I can find it, I'll put it. But I followed a method that I saw on somebody's instructional video or on a blog or something, that basically you do a round before you're going to do your bind off. You do one last round. You modify it and slip, like rearrange stitches on the needles to be 1x1 rib just for one round. And so it involves like every like 4 stitches or so, you have to take the knit and the purl off on the edge of like where it's 2 knits, 2 purls, the knit and the purl from each of those sections. Take them off the needles and put them back on in the other order. So it's like, if you're not careful, you could drop a stitch, but I found it not hard at all, and it went rather quickly. And then the bind off turned out perfect. There's like a slight, the only way that you can tell is when you're binding off, you can just tell that it pulls a little bit on the second knit stitch so that it comes across somewhat across the purl section. Come on, show. Yeah, like here, you can tell that it kind of pulls across the purl section, but I don't think it's noticeable, and I think it still looks really tidy, like a really nice, neat bind off, I think, anyway. So I'm quite happy with that. I did that for all of my bind off, so including the like the bottom hem, and then for my button band or my placket. Come on. Yeah. And I'm super happy about these buttons too. I think they look really cute. I was planning on going out and buying buttons. I have to duck out of the way. Going out and buying buttons for this sweater. I was at Fabricland getting elastic, and I saw that they had little Ziploc bags of assorted buttons for $2.50, and I was like, oh cool, that's cheap. And I looked at them and saw like, okay, they're not just random buttons, some of them are sets, so okay, I might as well. When I was finishing this sweater, I had been planning on going out and buying buttons for it, but I thought, well, why don't I look in there and see if I have any buttons that are nice enough. And I didn't realize, but there were all kinds of sets of buttons in amongst that, like in that bag, and some of them were actually really nice. So this was one of the sets of buttons that came in that little bag for $2.50, and I actually really like them. It's funny, actually, I had my dad help me pick out the buttons for them. He's really funny and has like, he's not a guy who dresses fashionably or anything. He's like a pair of pants, t-shirt, same shoes kind of guy. But he enjoys little things about design and fashion and things like that. He's so funny. And so part of me was like, you know what, I'm gonna just ask him because he's in here. He was visiting me downstairs, and I was like, I'm just gonna ask him because he's standing here and I'm thinking about it. And I was like, Dad, I know this is stupid, but do you have an opinion about these buttons? And he was like, yeah. And so he told me what he thought of each of the different, I had like 4 different sets of buttons I was considering. And he was like, well, this one, if you use those wooden ones, that's like a little bit more rustic looking and like a little bit more contrast because they were a light wood, a little more contrast from the like dark medium gray that you've got. But if you use these ones, it makes it less of like a casual piece that you would have in your wardrobe. But these buttons, the ones that I went with, he said those ones are my favorite because they're not super high contrast, so you don't really notice they're there. But then when you do notice they're there, it's like, oh, those are pretty. They have like little flecks of like purple and blue in there. So wow, those are actually kind of pretty. And I was like, you're exactly right, Dad. Thank you for your hot take on buttons for my sweater. My dad is a really creative guy, and he actually made my theme music for my podcast, for my videos. I had told him that I was thinking of, maybe I mentioned this in my first episode, but I had told him that I was considering making videos, and he's not big on social media, so I kind of thought he might be like, oh, Okay, well, I hope it goes well. Like, I didn't think that he'd really care that much. He, of course, cares when I'm really into something or passionate about something, any of us kids. But he, I told him, and he got so excited about it. And he was like, oh, really? I can make you intro music if you want. And I was like, sure, yeah, I would love that, Dad. And we spent like a good couple of months before I started making these videos. That's one of the reasons I kind of had to wait to start. We spent a couple months just figuring out what we wanted this theme music to be, and him creating it. So I love my theme music, and it's so special to me, and I think it fits perfectly, and it makes me so happy. So anyway, that's a little bit about my dad. So anyway, my Eva cardigan that I still haven't finished talking about, and I feel like I haven't actually said that much about it. It's just like a good staple piece. Like I'm just glad to have it in my wardrobe. It's comfy and soft, and I don't think I can fit it in the frame, probably. But maybe I will put pictures of me wearing it, and maybe even a clip, because I took a couple little clips of me trying it on before blocking and trying it on after blocking, because I knew it was going to be a big difference because it is superwash yarn. And yeah, no, it's turned out so great. I'm really happy with it. It's so cozy. The sleeve length is perfect. I've finally, I think, figured out how short I need to go for the most part, counting for the fact that the sleeves are going to grow with a superwash yarn, because a few of my sweaters, they ended up too long. So yeah, I love this sweater. I'm very happy with it. One of the things that really stand out about the Eva cardigan, I'll say, is the wide 2x2 ribbed hem and the wide 2x2 ribbed button band or placket. But I didn't really feel like doing that. Like, I didn't really feel like I wanted it to look like that as a finished object. Like, I don't know, I felt like it dressed it up too much for what I wanted it for at the time. So I just made the hem at the bottom like a little narrower, and then I made the button band narrower too. I'm happy how that turned out. It just meant that I adjusted when to work the buttonholes into the button band, because it would have been wider, and so I placed it in the middle of how long I wanted how wide I wanted my button band to be, rather than the actual width of the button band. So those are really the only changes I made to it. I think I followed the proper decreases for the sleeve, and I like how they're not noticeable, really. Like, sometimes you kind of notice them if you lift up your arm and they're like visible, but these almost don't show at all, only if I'm like paying really close attention. Here, can I find where they are? Yeah. You like can't even tell, really. Like, here's one right there. Yeah, here's another one. Yeah, they're very hard to notice. Yeah, I love this sweater. I would love to make another one. I'm very happy with it. Another thing is that I keep doing this thing with raglans, and I think with most of my sweaters, where when I pick up, oh, it's kind of come undone, or maybe I didn't do a good enough job of fixing it. This thing with sweaters where when you pick up the stitches under the sleeve, you end up with, so when you pick up the cast on stitches under the sleeve, you end up with these there you can see, these like corner holes. And so what I ended up doing is picking up extra stitches on the side. Maybe I didn't do it for this one, and that's why there's still a hole. Picking up extra stitches, and then immediately, like in the next couple rounds before I start my decreases, my regular decreases, I just decrease them out. So that worked pretty well. I'm going with that from now on, but I think where I didn't do them, I did take the tail yarn and like weave it in to kind of close them up, but maybe I didn't do it there, and that's why I have that kind of hole there. I find this cardigan super versatile. Wear it with dresses, wear it with skirts, wear it with jeans, pants, anything. I wear it with all kinds of things, but because it's gray, it's not a super springy color. So it's kind of reaching the point now where it's beautiful here. I think it's still pretty dim in here. We'll see how the lighting is when I go to edit this. It's starting to get to the point here around Vancouver where things are really like green and bright now, and even some of the blossoms, like the flowers, are finishing their cycle, and we're getting new ones and more variety, and so things are just looking really bright and fresh. And the weather's getting warmer, but it's still pretty chilly. Like today I was like, ooh, chilly when I went out, but it's almost time, I think, for me to maybe put this away for the summer. But I'm gonna keep enjoying it for now. I love it, and I'm super excited to find it again in the fall after moving and be like, oh yeah, my Eva cardigan, I'm so happy I have that. So in fact, I think I'm gonna wear it for my whips. I'll show the like smaller things first. So this whip is the DK vanilla sock recipe from the Crazy Sock Lady. So with my May and Satsuki DK hand-dyed yarn that I talked about last episode in my acquisitions from Casual Fashion Queen, it's this one right here. It's caked up on a Thursday afternoon. Today's Monday. But yeah, so this is it. Beautiful springy colors. I love it. So I've been working on socks, or so far I just have one. But I decided I didn't want the whole sock to be those bright colors. So I've gone with the, I guess this would technically be an acquisition, but I didn't really feel it was like super noteworthy or anything. I just bought or ordered a skein of like the undyed, or ecru or ecru, I still haven't figured out what that's supposed to be pronounced, the undyed DK from Arcane Fibre Works. So I ordered a skein of that, and I've put them together, and I'm creating a nice springy sock, except that it is pretty thick. I have hairs everywhere. It is pretty thick being DK, and will probably be more of a wintertime sock, but the colors are springy, and it's making me happy to work on. And I'm working on my Satsuki and May, or May and Satsuki socks in my Totoro project bag that I love so much. It's so cute. And it's making me so happy to have it just so perfect in the little Totoro bag. Oh no, there's needles sticking out. There. The needles that I have on there right now are not the needles I'm using for these, because I've borrowed the sock needle to work on another one of my whips that I've got going right now. But I'm using 3.25 millimeter sock needles. I think I got from Hobby. I like those ones because it's the like longer needle. They're the little circulars, and the longer needle with the shorter needle on the other side. So I really like those. And yeah, so I'm using 3.25 for these socks. What I've discovered, what was I working on? Oh, I worked on the Easy as ABC baby sweater for one of my cousins, and like changed colors for a cuff, and realized that it looks better to do one ribbed round in the white before then continuing in stockinette with the white, or like with the other color, with the main color. Otherwise you get like little, like, I don't know, it just doesn't look as solid across. So I've started doing that. Yeah, I'm liking these. They're kind of on hold for just a minute, but because I only have one of those 3.25 sock needles, and I do not want to do magic loop because I find that really frustrating, I am just doing them one at a time, whereas I usually do 2 socks at a time. But I do want to get around to ordering another one of those sock needles in 3.25 so that I can do 2 DK weight socks at a time. But yeah, so that's one pair of socks. I do have another pair of socks going as well. Oh, will I show these? Yes, but I won't say who they're for because they are a gift for a friend. And They are being made, being worked up in Arcane Fibers sock yarn in the colorway Fall Feelings. And this is them so far. Just vanilla socks in Fall Feelings, this really pretty color. It's showing a little more gray, like a little bit less saturated on camera right now. But yeah, it's so pretty, like pink, purple, or like the pink is kind of just like a faded purple. So it's like purple or maroon and orange and like peach, like the orange fading into peach. Bye bye, tree cutting crew. They're piecing out now. Yeah, there are bits of like it's not gray even. I would say it's like mauve. But some parts of it read kind of brown, and yeah, so they're very, very pretty colors. And I've got 2 going right now. And yeah, so these are coming along great. I want to hurry up and finish these. I've been kind of putting these on hold for, like, these have just been sitting for a long time because I keep distracting myself working on other things. But I want to hurry up and finish them because of the yarn I got that I'll talk about in my acquisitions that I'm really excited to work on. Spoiler alert, it's sock yarn. And yeah, so I want to hurry up and finish those, but I keep not working on them because I have been wanting to make progress and hopefully finish soon this Cottage Cardigan by Jacqueline Cieslak. Oh wait, that's upside down. So this is my next whip, my most important whip. My Cottage Cardigan. I have almost the whole sleeve done. I've made a lot of progress since I talked on my last episode about this just being an idea that I was toying with. Was frogging that whole gingerbread sweater and reusing the yarn to make something else, probably a cardigan, probably the Cottage Cardigan. And here it is on my needles and largely done. I'm pretty proud of myself. So this cardigan I've really enjoyed so far. It works pretty slowly because it is made with fingering weight yarn, but it's nice and light and bouncy and kind of airy. And I've been working on it like crazy, so it's coming along. But I've enjoyed the construction. It's been really interesting. You work the button band, like the 1x1 button band, at the same time as the whole rest of the cardigan as you go back and forth. So at the beginning and end of each round, you have this 1x1 section with slipped stitches on the end that make it like nice and tidy for the edges of the button band. And it's pretty easy to remember. And then you're working your like raglan at the same time to create the yoke. And then yeah, you split for sleeves and work the rest of the body. I decided I wanted this to be like shorter, more cropped than the Eva cardigan that I just made. That's a little longer. So I don't know if you can see. So I've made it a little shorter. I did the Italian bind off again for the edges. And yeah, I'm working the sleeve right now, except I've done something kind of funky with the decreases. Something cool about this pattern too is that they have a section where you can fill it out. It's like a Mad Libs to like fill in the blanks for a custom sleeve length. So if you want to make it longer, you wouldn't be working your decreases as often, or if you want to make it shorter, you'd be working more increases more frequently. So I did that math, and it's cool. It's actually perfect for people who are bad at math because it is very straightforward and really walks you through how to do the math for that. It basically does it all for you. All you need is a calculator. But I've done something maybe kind of funky with this. So the instructions for the decreases involve just doing the decreases on either side of the beginning of round, like immediately on either side, and so there's no like normal knit stitches in between. But I added that in because I thought it would probably make it look neater, and it did, except it created this like band up the middle of the sleeve, like underneath. And then when you stop doing increases and just go straight stockinette until you reach the cuff, or until you're ready to start working the cuff, there's obviously, it just like finishes, it stops creating this like band in the middle, and it kind of disappears. So that's not part of the pattern. It's something that I've just kind of ended up doing as part of it, because my, like, this wouldn't also probably happen if I wasn't working my decreases so frequently. Because I wanted my sleeve to end up shorter than the pattern instructs. I think it says like work your decreases every 10 rows or something, and I ended up having to do mine every 3 rows, so it's created like a really obvious pattern where there's like a band down the middle. But I kind of don't mind it. I think it kind of looks neat and tidy. Yeah, I don't think it's that noticeable, but anyway, I think it's fine. I don't think it bothers me. Maybe after I finish it I'll change my mind and end up hating it. I don't think so though. Like, I think it just looks tidy. You're supposed to do the ribbing in like with the, so the smaller needle is 3.5, I think. But I found that even my shortest needles, or shortest cable with my shorter needles in 3.5 were too wide, and it was stretching out the ribbing for my cuff. So I decided just to use my 9-inch circular 3.25 needle that I was working my DK socks in, and so I just borrowed them from that, and it's coming great so far. Like, I think it's working a lot better to not have those stitches stretched out. And yeah, I'm excited to finish the sleeve, hurry up and do the other one, and then have a finished cardigan and add another sweater to my list of sweaters I made in my off season this year. And then when people ask me like, oh, what did you do this off season, even though I didn't work and didn't do, or I don't want to say I didn't do anything all that productive, because I did, but also, guess what? I made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sweaters this off season. Wow, that's like a sweater a month. That's so cool. Way to go me. Especially since I doubt that I'll be able to get much done in terms of like actual garment knitting during my train season or my working season. But yeah, I'm liking this so far. I think it's going to be really cute with like a white t-shirt. It even created like these kinds of stripes along the like the neckband and the button band. But I think it's kind of cute, and yeah, I quite like it. I'm excited to be able to wear it this spring. I think it's a nice light springy color and a nice light springy fabric. So yeah, that's all my works in progress that I have right now. I've had an iced coffee sitting next to me this whole time, and I haven't had any of it. Yum. My acquisitions, other than that skein of just like white or undyed DK yarn, I mentioned in the notes, like at the bottom of my, like the little captions at the bottom of my last video, I think when I was talking about my acquisitions, yeah, I was talking about how I'd ordered that Satsuki and May, or May and Satsuki skein from Casual Fashion Queen, and I noted that she had more Ghibli colors, and so as I was editing that video, I was like, man, I love that color, and I looked at the website again, and they have more of them, and I ordered them right then and there. And actually, I didn't order all there. I thought that there were only 2 more Ghibli themed colors. I think that there are at least 4, and one that I didn't order. It's the heron, I think, like the boy and the heron. I didn't order that one, but what I did order, I'm very excited about. So, which one to talk about first? I'll talk about this one first. So I actually like the color of this one better. I didn't think I would, but I'm in love with this color for some reason. I wish I could afford to just like knit a whole sweater in this yarn. It's this beautiful soft pink, and then it's got all these little black and red and orange flecks in it. And the color is called Soot Sprites on the wallpaper. Like from Totoro when May, like, or is it May? That's squishes him. Anyway, I know May like catches it in her hand. It's actually, now that I think about it, it's been a little while since I've watched My Neighbor Totoro. Maybe I'll make my boyfriend watch it with me the next movie night we have. So, because that's on our list of movies, and we keep not watching it. He's watched other Ghibli movies with me. In fact, our second date, no, it wasn't our second. It was like our fourth date or something, was him coming along. We had been, as a family, so excited for The Boy and the Heron release here in Canada, or in North America. So excited. And so when finally it was coming out, I don't think it was the day it came out. I think it was like the following Saturday or something like that was like the soonest that we could get tickets, or the soonest that we could go. And I bought like 10 tickets because I know that we have more family members who also like Ghibli and their boyfriends and whatever. So I bought like 10 tickets all in a row for everybody who would want to come. And then a few people like canceled and couldn't make it and whatever. And I was like, oh shoot, okay. So I ended up with a couple extra tickets, or at least one. And he wasn't my boyfriend yet at the time. This was only our fourth date. But things were going well, and I thought, like, you know what? Even though he doesn't know Ghibli, he knows I love Ghibli, and he's expressed interest. So maybe he'd go, maybe he'd come. So I invited him, and I said, oh no, it must have been a work day, because I told him, even though it's a work day for you, would you come? If you're too tired after your work day to come and like meet a whole bunch of my family all in one go, that's okay. But it would be awesome if you came. And he was like, yeah, absolutely. So, but he came and met like my mom and dad and my sister and my grandfather and my cousins, and like all in one go. And it was only like our fourth date. So I felt like, and he's since said like, yeah, that was pretty overwhelming for me. Like that was pretty intimidating to just be meeting your family so soon. But I liked you a lot, so it's a good thing that it went so good. So yeah, but yeah, so we went and saw The Boy and the Heron, and watched more Ghibli movies since then. He liked Howl's Moving Castle, and he liked Nausicaa. So I think next I'll make him watch My Neighbor Totoro with me, and maybe I'll be knitting on my main Satsuki socks. Maybe by then I'll have moved on to this super cute Soot Sprites on the wallpaper skein. But yeah, I just love it. I want more of it. I don't think she has that many skeins of this left. In fact, I think when I looked last, she only had one. But I want more, and I would love like a sweater in this color, or a cardigan in this color. Oh, so cute. Like if I made a cottage, just because I'm working on it and I know that it uses fingering weight or sock yarn. Yeah, I just think that would be so cute in this. Sad. But it's expensive. But so cute. And then the other one I got is Nausicaa's Garden. Oh, look at this pretty green color. I love it too. Nausicaa's Garden. If you haven't seen Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, watch it. Go watch it. It's my favorite movie of all time. Not only my favorite Ghibli movie, but my favorite movie of all time. I love Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. I personally think that Nausicaa is like the perfect heroine. Like she's so like noble and good, but she's not just like boring. She's interesting and exciting, even though she's so noble and good. There's something to be said, not to get into like movie critique or book critique or whatever, but like there's something to be said for like morally gray main character. But I think now we've had enough, at least I have personally. I've had enough of that, and I feel like we need more just like goodness. Like just people being good examples and somebody to admire. So I think for me anyway, that's what Nausicaa is. She's just like my hero, and I just want to be her. She's so cool and good and awesome. So this is Nausicaa's garden, and she, in the movie, if you haven't seen it, it takes place in a world where it's kind of a post-apocalyptic world where it seems as though most of the world has been taken over by toxic jungle filled with enormous insects that are super dangerous. But Nausicaa kind of discovers, I won't spoil it, but Nausicaa discovers a way of growing plants, growing a garden, and she has a secret garden that she grows, and yeah, so this is Nausicaa's garden, and I am super excited to make socks in both of these colors. I also have, and these aren't acquisitions, but because I'm trying not to spend a lot of money on yarn, although I have a whole bunch of yarn ready to go to click order on for upcoming projects that I want to start for this spring and this summer. So I might even make a video about my spring and summer plans and ideas, because they're, of course, ones that I want to make, and definitely, like, it's a goal to finish them before fall, like in the next 6 months or so. But then there are some that are like, I probably won't get to this, but I like them and they're a nice idea. So I might make a video of that sort. But while I'm trying not to spend a lot of money on yarn, I have been looking at what I have already. I don't have much of a stash because my method is to pick a pattern and then buy the yarn for it, or like pick a project in mind and buy the yarn for it, not to just buy yarn because I see it. But I do have a couple of quantities of yarn that I could make something with that I bought to make a pattern but then decided against it, or it hasn't been successful. So first thing, I've had this for a long time, like when I was a brand new knitter. I have several balls of this Patons Grace mercerized cotton, and I bought it originally to make some kind of like summer top with, and I still think that might be a nice idea. The one that I was working on was not working out, and so I've decided that it's gonna get frogged and I'll do something else with that yarn. But I don't know how, because I found knitting with this so different, I'm not sure what to expect, and what is working with mercerized cotton like for a garment. I don't know. It has to do with this, it's like a shiny, it's less of a rough, stiff cotton, and it's like shinier and slicker a little bit. So I'm curious if anyone watching this has used mercerized cotton or knit a garment with mercerized cotton. If you can comment on how that holds up or what that's like as a finished garment. Does it work? Like, let me know, because I think this is a cute color and I think it'd make a cute summer top. And what's the gauge? I'll probably put it somewhere around here, and if you have a recommendation for a pattern, I'll also put quantity, how much I have of this yarn, and if you have a recommendation for what I should make with it, let me know. The other thing I have is a quantity of KnitPicks Stroll, so sock yarn, in this kind of soft red. It's not, it's looking a little bit deeper on camera. It's not so deep red. What's the color? Oh, the color's poppy. So it's a little bit of a softer or more faded red. Almost leans a little bit like dragon fruit, kind of. Almost a little bit pinky than it shows on camera. But I think I have like 5 balls of this, and each one is 50 grams and has 230 yards, 231 yards. So I could make something with this. I maybe could even make, I haven't done the math, but I maybe could even make a, like a cardigan out of it. I don't know. I don't know. I guess this is an okay color for me. Although it is looking more of a deeper red. It's the like faded quality or like lighter red that I feel like might not look all that good on me, and so I might not wear it. But maybe I would. I don't know. I had bought it to make something for somebody else, and that has not worked out. Not the person, but like the project I was working on has not worked out. So I thought, well, I've got this yarn kicking around. If I am really like don't want to spend money on a new quantity of yarn to make a garment with, but I really want to make a garment, then I could use this for something like that. So I don't know. I don't really feel red is, or I don't think of red as being a very springy color. Of course, like green and pink and yellow and orange even, and like lavender and stuff. But like there are red tulips. I'm looking out the window at red tulips right now. So that's just my own. There are lots of red flowers in the spring. So I need to maybe also, it's not a necessity to be working in a color that you find seasonally inspiring, but it's nice to do. Part of the reason why I love knitting so much is because of how seasonal it is. And it really helps me get into the season I'm in. I mentioned last time, I think, that I like, it's almost like I have opposite seasonal depression where I love fall and winter, and as the days get longer and the weather gets nicer and stuff, I actually find that disappointing and have to like push myself to get excited about spring and into the season and convince myself there are lots of things about spring that I like and that are nice and to be happy about. So and like go out and do outside activities and fun springy things and get myself into the season, convince myself that I like it. So knitting helps me with that, helps me get excited about the season. So yeah, I've got this yarn, and now that I'm looking at it more, and I'm holding it up against my like jeans, and I'm thinking, oh, those colors look nice together. So yeah, maybe I will do something with that. Anyway, that's all I've got for right now. Maybe I'll talk a bit about in another video soon about some of the things I'm thinking about. I know it's pretty late now. We're into spring. Are we technically? Yes. Oh yeah, we have been since March. We're into spring now, and so it's a little bit late. But I mean, it's something that's on my mind lately, is the types of things and the projects that I'm thinking about and wanting to make for this season and for summer as well. So yeah, maybe I'll talk about those in a video soon. But things are picking up for me, and I've been noticing things getting a lot busier, which is why I wanted to seize the opportunity to record this and hopefully get it edited, because I am finding my days really full of moving related projects, like of course packing and like fixing things up around the house and doing yard work and stuff. Lots of yard work. Good thing the weather's been nice. As well as starting work soon. Just today I had my uniform fitting for the new season. In the next few weeks here I'm going to be starting back to work, which is good. And but it means that I'll have less time. Oh, there's something else that I wanted to mention, that in the last couple weeks I had an interview at a local yarn shop, and well, it's fairly local. It's like kind of a little bit closer out, not all the way out to where I'm going to be living in Abbotsford, but a little bit further out in the valley, at least from here in Port Moody. So it's kind of halfway between here and Abbotsford. Anyway, had an interview at a local yarn shop because they've been looking for somebody seasonal for the fall and winter. And I was like, hey, that's exactly what I'm looking for, is something to do in my off seasons. So it sounds like, I mean, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but it sounds like it might be a great setup for me returning to that yarn shop for my off seasons, going forward, because they're talking about like, yeah, we want somebody to be able to like be a returning face here for a long time. And yeah, so it might be a really great situation where I've got something kind of calmer and quieter and part-time and just more geared towards like my knitting interests and my home related interests for my off season after having a busy, like exciting and exhausting train season away from home. So yeah, that might be great, and I'm super excited about that. I've thought about how cool it would be to work at a yarn shop for a long time. So yeah, that's an exciting thing, and that conversation went really well, and yeah, something I'm definitely looking forward to. So hopefully I'll be able to make another video pretty soon. Um, we'll see how much knitting I'm able to get done once I start working. I'm excited for what the next little while is going to bring. Starting back to work again, moving, and yeah, lots going on. So anyway, thank you for watching. I really enjoyed talking about all of what I've got going on in terms of knitting right now. And yeah, I hope that you enjoyed, and I hope that you have a great day, a great week, a great month. I hope that where you are, you're seeing a change in the season and you're feeling rejuvenated and seeing all the little growing things and getting excited to be outside and yeah, I hope you're feeling rested and have a clear head and you're not too stressed out and that things are just going well for you. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye. And drink my coffee.